Hey everybody, this is the part 2 video. The barn you see behind me, it's the barn that I mentioned in video number 35, and that's the house behind me. And that night when I thought there was people inside this barn, I was standing right here at this very spot in pitch darkness. And this is the fence where I was brushing my Bowie knife. I walked 360 around the barn, starting from the other side. And I stopped right here. And I was just staring into the barn in complete darkness. And the entire time I was standing here, my mind kept playing the scenario that there are kids inside this barn. And the answer was there was no one in there. There was nobody in there. And how do I know this? Well, I know this because after everything that had happened, it was spirits. Now, they're not just young spirits, these are old spirits. Because younger spirits, I learned that younger spirits, they don't have the energy to be messing with a person. Only the older spirit that's been dead for a long time would have the energy and the know-how to mess with people. And you have to put yourself into their situation because their ability are limited when it comes to the physical world. But they have other abilities that humans just do not understand, the living humans, the living people, because our society don't teach us anything when it comes to spiritual, the afterlife, or the ancient teachings when it comes to spirituality or the spirits, demons, ghosts. I mean, the information are out there, but it's not what society find it acceptable as a norm. And I'm going to tell you guys a story. Remember the video where I was got taken in for the 72 hours involuntary evaluation? Well, one thing I didn't tell you guys was that night, what happened was that night I was in the backyard, and the entire time I was really, my awareness of believing people were outside of my fence and they're just hiding somewhere, on my property. My awareness on that thought was at the highest. And that night I was in the backyard smoking a cigarette, and all of a sudden there's a loud bang on the fence. Like to me, in my mind, immediately in my mind was, oh, those neighbors, the kids of the neighbors, they threw something at my fence. And I went inside and grabbed my shotgun, and I came back out, and I went outside. I turned off all the lights because I had lights set up on the outside. I turned them off. Okay, these are hardwired lights, so the only lights were left was the motion sensor lights. But I turned off all the lights, and then I was just sneaking around. Yes, because I was crouching down, sneaking around, hiding behind bushes. It was like I was acting out as if someone was really there in a real situation, like, oh wow, this is really, it's, to me, it was life or death. Like, oh, there's hostiles out here, you know. And there was no one out here. My girlfriend at the time, now my wife, she was really worried about me because I told her, oh, it's not safe, you should go. So I told her to go. So she drove off, and we kind of got into an argument, so she drove off, and she called 911 because she was really scared at the way I was behaving. After she left, and I checked the perimeter, and there was no one there, so I went back inside. And during that time, I left my phone. When I was checking the perimeter, I didn't have my phone on me. And I guess during that time, the sheriff was calling my phone. The sheriff called me like 10 times. And I missed the calls from the sheriff. And I didn't even know until 20, 30 minutes later, my girlfriend at the time called me, and I answered, and she explained to me that, oh, she called 911 and all this stuff. And at that very moment, I looked at my TV on the surveillance camera, and 5 or 6 sheriff's car was driving down my driveway. So after I explained the story to them, they find me somewhat, well, the big takeaway was I told them there might be ghosts. And that was a mistake, because to them, any mention of ghosts, it's some mental issues. So they took me in. Now, you might not believe it's the spirit. And that just tells me you haven't gotten to voice the skull. You're still being messed around with, still believing it's the people around you, the people in public, especially the ones, the TIs, that believe your family member are involved, purposely messing with you. No, they're not involved in messing with you. There are demons messing with your whole family. There are demons that are attached to you, spirits that are, now demons are just an old spirit with a really bad personality. That's all it is. So imagine like a person that was back in the Wild Wild West day, an outlaw that's okay with murdering people or killing people. Like that type of people, okay, that type of character. But an old spirit with that character. So it just doesn't care about anybody. It'll do things just to mess with you. If it doesn't like you, it'll do things to you. And that's what a demon is. That's a demon. And the demon is messing with you, and it's also messing with your family member. And what it can do is whisper using lower voice to skull. So there's majority of the people in the world are just not aware, but I believe they can all be taught how to pick up the voices, but they're just not as in tune. They might just be more focused on other things in life, responsibility or whatever's on their mind. And also, they were raised since birth to not really talk about spirits, right? So it's just missing that part of the knowledge. And society itself right now, they don't talk about spirits. Like people don't. It's just, if you talk about spirits in public, people's gonna think you're kind of crazy, or they don't believe in it, or some people might even get scared of topics like that, so they don't want to talk about or hear it. And this demon, what it does is playing the devil's advocate. So they can read your minds, right? These gang stalkers can read your minds. So what it does is, It already knows it's been messing with you throughout the whole day. It knows that you're kind of getting irritated, pissed off. And it can also tell you to go ask your family member for advice. Yeah. It's practically manipulating you to go talk to your family member. But at the same time, it's already been warming up your parents through lower voice to skull. And whenever you try to talk to your parents, and your mind's thinking about one thing, right? Talking to your parents. But as your parents are sitting there listening to you, their mind's thinking about something else. So even though they're sitting there listening, their mind is not on the same page as you. And since they're not on the same page as you, and the things that they respond to you it's not exactly what you want to hear. So if you're not hearing what you want to hear, these gang stalkers can mess with your flow, your flow of energy, your feeling. The next thing you know, you get even more irritated because your family member is not responding in the way that you want them to respond to you. And then next thing you know, there's this argument start boiling up. And then one person gets louder than the other, and another person might find it offensive and then start talking back louder than the other person. So it's just like back and forth and the next thing you know, after an hour going in a circle, nothing got resolved. No solution to the problem. And the whole time, the people that were in this argument don't even realize there are demons next to them, these old spirits next to them, messing with their mind, preventing them from focusing on the subject. Yeah, the next time you TIs out there who are frustrated and get into these type of feelings, try to recognize it, because you're gonna have a hard time focusing. And I've seen a lot of videos where TIs would go out on the street and then they'll be super pissed off, right? They're so pissed off. They're like basically saying everybody's a gang stalker. No, they're not all gang stalkers. The TI is just out there listening to lower voice to skull because the TI have already lived the life of believing, right? The TI actually accepted the thought of believing it's regular people that are gang stalkers. See, because they work in your mind. And once you accept that thought into your mind, now the gang stalkers can manipulate you by lower voice to skull. A TI would be walking and all of a sudden there'll be like two people on bicycles. And in the video, TI would be like, oh, look at those gang stalker. You know, TI would say something about those two person. Those two person are just on a bicycle. But this TI would believe they're gang stalkers. Maybe because they heard something from that direction, and the only living thing from that direction or just the two person on bicycle, or it's a feeling but they don't hear anything. It's because it's not loud enough for them, but then they are hearing it from lower voice to skull, and it's making their mind think, oh, look at those two gang stalkers. Like right away they'll start thinking gang stalkers. Now what that really means is it's not just for the TI, but for the world. We do not have control of our minds. Our minds are being manipulated by something, an entity. And I'm going to show you in video number 40. Demons. It's one thing to know the identity of the gang stalkers, but it's another thing to be able to identify the gang stalkers. And I know how to do both. And I would teach you guys. That's why I'm the best. Go find me a better TI that knows more information than me. I'm still waiting. And actually, I do want to meet someone out there that knows more than me, so I can learn from that person, him or her. if you just try to accept all these information or try to make sense of all these information, don't stress over it. Relax. It's going to take some time to settle into your mind. And it doesn't really settle until you actually experience it yourself, because it took me 1.5 years from initially seeing it with my eyes and also experiencing it on a daily basis to finally, it made me realize, okay, these are spirits. Gang stalkers are spirits. They're ghosts. Like, it took me that long, 1.5 years. And another thing is, they don't want you to know that. That's why no TI out there, well, there are TIs out there who do mention their spirits. Those are more aware, and they actually have a strong understanding of what's going on. But I haven't seen one that can identify the gang stalkers. They know of the gang stalker, but not for sure. But they're missing the identifying part. And I'm going to help those TIs, because until you know how to identify them, it's hard to really let the information just permanently sink into your mind and know that's the truth. Because if you're going to argue with me about, oh, it's the government, my response to that is, how many hours of research, of due diligence have you done when it comes to spirits and ghosts? That's all I gotta ask you. How many hours? If you haven't even done 20 hours, minimum 20 hours of research on spirits, and you try to tell me it's the government, then you're just not ready. That's all. MK Ultra is nothing. You know why? Because gang stalking is fast, it's quick, no lag, no delay. It's more advanced than MK Ultra. And the gang stalkers, let me tell you this, they control the world. Yes, they do. The gang stalkers control the world, because the majority of people do not know about the gang stalkers. And the TIs that do know about them are all scattered everywhere. They're just kind of not fully informed. They don't even know what they're talking about, and they'll spread these social media messages. And then there's a small percentage of TIs out there who have an idea, but just not pinpoint. And then there's me. I can help you pinpoint exactly what the gang stalkers look through your eyes. The faces of gang stalkers. Video number 40. Please comment below. Let me know what you think. Share my videos. And I hope you TIs out there will find your way, because if you don't understand being fair and do your due diligence on researching what I'm saying, and you just want to believe it's the police and your neighbors and your family, you know for sure. Well, let me tell you, I'll tell you right now. No, you don't. You don't know. As a matter of fact, the gang stalkers are next to you and just messing with your mind. You're in a light trance. You're kind of drowsy. You don't know, because let's be honest here. You don't even know who they are. You don't. You think you know. You're so sure. And you have all these evidence. But then you go to police. The police not doing anything. And then now you're saying the police are in on it. No, because you have no evidence. You don't. You have speculation. You have assumptions. That's all you got. That's why the police aren't doing anything. Let's be fair. Let's be honest. Because right now, you are under the control of these demons. Unless you can be fair and start loving again and show compassion for others, and then try to teach other TIs. Because right now, the community is just going downhill. TIs are special. We're all oracles. We're all mediums. But when I watch those videos out there, it just shows lack of evidence. It's actually not even evidence at all. I mean, there's TIs that are filming around what they're doing around every day and start calling out gang stalkers out in public. That is not evidence. It doesn't hold up in court. It's nothing. It's just nonsense. It's just a TI hating the world. Is it the TI's fault? No. Does the TI know what's going on? No. Yeah. I'll call you guys out. Because I'm the best. Just the way it is. Am I chosen? Yeah. No one in history has ever identified these gang stalkers. I'm gonna go public. I'm gonna show you what the devil looks like. The faces of demons. Stream Home, signing out.